Smokin' Dan Mitchell, the local favorite from Homestead section of Pittsburgh. And Gerald McClellan from Detroit, Michigan. And it's Mitchell in the red with the black trim. McClellan fighting out of the Kronk gym in Detroit in the gold trunks, Kronk colors. And what a gym that is, Bill.
Oh, Kronk has turned out so many good fighters, most notably Thomas Hearns. McClellan is 18-2 fighting out of Kronk in Detroit, while Mitchell is 10-5 fighting out of Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, make that 11-5.
Mitchell is a tough customer. I've had the pleasure of seeing him before. Very tough. He can take a punch.
McClellan, however, has the advantage of fighting for one of boxing greats, Emanuel Stewart. And there's an advantage there, Jim.
That's right, when you have a guy like that in your corner. That's a big plus added to your side. Mitchell with a left to the body. McClellan answers right back.
I think McClellan represents the first true professional that we're seeing tonight. While fighters like Tommy Alexander demonstrate the ability to fight on another level, McClellan is already there.
We'll see what Mitchell has to offer. Fighting, I noticed, with two different colored boots there. One black and one red.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that, Jim, because I'm colorblind. They look the same to me. Mitchell, however, quite an ominous-looking fellow.
See, he's kind of got the Hagler look.
Oh, for sure.
Hagler Hearns right here, huh?
Not at all intimidated by McClellan or where he comes from. And looking, I'm sure, to represent Pittsburgh. Quite admirable.
That's right. Believe me, he's every bit as tough as he looks.
Throw that body, Mitch.
So far, an uneventful first round. Our referee, by the way, for this one's Biff Bear. As I mentioned in a previous fight, Biff is the former commissioner of Pennsylvania Athletics.
Get busy inside, man. Got work in there. Get busy inside.
Separates the two fighters.
McClellan's just filling Mitchell out at this point.
That's it. Counter, take the jab from. Double that left hook.
Good left there by Mitchell.
Yeah.
This fight's over. Right, and that's it.
This fight is over, and this man is hurt right now. Unfortunately, Dr. Tim Ward's going to have to jump into the ring.
I believe the good doctor is back checking out Tommy Alexander. Mitchell is down and out.
He's out cold, Jim. That's unfortunate. Well,
Mitchell is out. One hard right hand by McClellan, and that's it for Smokin' Dan Mitchell. In Pittsburgh, as we get ready for the main event, the WBO light heavy.
The former world light middleweight champion, and Gerald McClellan from the famous Kronk gym in Detroit. So it's back to Harry Carpenter at ringside.
Second down, first round.
Mugabi, the former WBC light middleweight champion, wearing the white trunks against the 24-year-old Gerald McClellan, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and now fights out of the famous Kronk stable in Detroit. McLellan wearing the orange or golden trunks against John Mugabi, who's now 31 and has one of the most extraordinary records of any professional in the world. He's never had a fight that's gone the distance, and he's had 41 of them. He's won 38, and he's hurt a right hand from the young man McLellan, and Mugabi's over in the opening 30 seconds. And this was a fight everybody thought couldn't possibly go very far because these are two big punches. And McLellan, who's had only 24 fights, has already shown the power of his right hand. Mugabi is 31 years old now and looking very vulnerable to anything that hits him on the chin. But Mugabi has had many wins in the first round, and it wouldn't be beyond him to come back with something similar. So this WBO middleweight championship already proving to be quite something. The older man in the white trunks. Not a hair on his head. This time the left hand catches Mugabi, and Mugabi's defences are anywhere but at the Albert Hall tonight. And he's gone again, and Mugabi won't survive this. It's the first round, and he doesn't know where he is. He's up at 7. And Mugabi is ready to be taken, I'm afraid. The former world light middleweight champion, now all too vulnerable to heavy punching. And McLellan of the United States has won the vacant World Boxing Organization title in under 3 minutes. And Mugabi hardly ever laid a glove on him. That is a very, very upsetting performance indeed from Mugabi, but a triumph for the American 24-year-old Gerald McClellan, winning his 23rd contest in 25, and Mugabi still needing some attention.
Our gentlemen, please. After 2 minutes of round 1, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has stopped the contest. The winner of the new WBO middleweight champion of the world, Gerald McClellan.
So McLellan of Milwaukee is acclaimed the new WBO champion. Not that that means a great deal these days, because everybody seems to be a champion. There are 4
to present the championship
recognized championships at every weight now, and he's the WBO champion, which is a title that was formerly held by Chris Eubank. Now, this is what happened. The first knockdown, big right hand, catches Mugabi on the side of the jaw, totally unprotected, and another punch follows up. I think that one might just have missed him, but he was all over the place at this point, and a wide open target for this big swinging young American. And there it was. Every punch that he threw couldn't fail but land. That was the first knockdown. And now the second. Mugabi seemed to have no defenses and no resistance to any sort of punch that hit him on that bald head. And at that point you knew that his challenge for this middleweight title was over.
Won the title, blasting out John Mugabi in a round. That was in Royal Albert Hall, and had Mugabi on the floor 3 times. His opponent, Lester Yarbrough, 32 years of age, 8 years older than McLellan.
At the Palace brings us to our main event. This is 10 rounds in the middleweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the Michigan State Athletic Board of Control. Dr. Stuart E. Kirschenbaum, chairperson. Our referee is Mr. Bob Fisher. Introducing first in the red corner, weighed in at 162 pounds. As a professional, he has 17 wins, 18 losses, 6 wins way of knockout. From Jackson, Tennessee, let's welcome Lester Yarbrough.
Lester Yarbrough there from Jackson, Tennessee. Has lost 5 more than he's won.
And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the Kronk gold, weighed in at 162 pounds. As a professional, he has 23 wins, 2 losses, 21 knockouts. From the Motor City of Detroit, he is the WBO middleweight champion. I give you Gerald McClellan.
So McCullellan couldn't have been more impressive than the night he won the WBO championship against John Mugabi. Now, every time Yarbrough has stepped up in class, he's been beaten. And generally inside the distance, you've got to go way back to 89 for his last good win. And that was a point win over 12 rounds against Knox Brown. And the 24-year-old McLellan, well, he can only get better. He lost fights back-to-back 3 years ago in 89. Dennis Milton, And Ralph wore two pretty capable journeymen, outpointed him, but well back on the winning trail now, McLellan. And as I say, he's got that WBA title as well. Fair to say that at 32 years of age, Yarbrough, in the twilight of his career, against his mean, hard, fast-punching champion in McLellan. Managed by Emmanuel Stewart from the Cronk Gym, and I believe also jointly managed by Mickey Duff. Good puncher, McCullellan. And that's going to be the undoing, I think, of Yarbrough. A good body punch there from Gerald McClellan. And Yarbrough went down quite spectacularly. Well, the standing 8 count here being administered. Well, that's possibly the shape of things to come. Only 2 men have gone the distance when McLellan has won on points. One was Sanderline Williams, and the other one was Charles Hollis. And I tell you what, it's only because they could take a whack or at least avoid one, but this man Yarbrough getting whacked downstairs. He looks a bit older than 32. Oh, goodness me, once again there. McLellan ripped in a body punch. Yarbrough up at 2. Well, he's not going to last much longer, is he? Although he's still coming out for battle. And that's the thing about Gerald McClellan. He's going to intimidate fighters before they even get inside the ring with him. Such a fearsome puncher, chopping right there to the side of the head. And it's all over. The 3 knockdown rule. Well, the crowd weren't too happy with that. They possibly wanted to see a little bit more of McLellan. And what a fight that would be. Roy Jones against Gerald McClellan. Roy Jones, of course, robbed in the Seoul Olympics. And Roy Jones, in fact, took 9 rounds to beat Lester Yarbrough. But these are good men. Yarbrough, like the Glenwood Brown, Rod Douglas also. Rod Douglas, in fact, outpointed him over 8 rounds. Just goes to show the kind of power that McLellan has. Glenwood Brown only took 10 rounds to beat him, points. Knox Brown was beaten on points over 12. And Lamar Parks could only outpoint Lester Yarbrough. So that just kind of puts into perspective this punching display. There's the last one, I think. Oh, no, it was the first one, in fact. This dynamic punching display by Gerald McClellan from Detroit, Michigan, taking over where possibly Thomas Hearns will leave off. He can hit this fella. 21 of his 23 wins inside the distance before this. Now it's 22 out of 24. A very impressive record. And poor old Yarbrough might just have seen the last of things. It hasn't done him any good, obviously, going in with these decent fighters. They've all chipped a bit away from him. Go back 4 years, Christoph Chiozo beaten him.
Non-title fight here for Gerald McClellan, the WBO middleweight champion who won the title with a stunning first-round knockout of John Mugabi in London. He's up against Carl Sullivan. There's his record for you. Fighting rather above his weight. He was originally a light middleweight. Tony Perez, your referee for this one. And McLellan should win it.
Gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the emerald green with black colors, weighing in at 162 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 12 victories with 8 KOs against only 4 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish assassin, Carl Sullivan. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the Kronk gold and weighing in at 164 pounds, from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. His record, 24 victories with 22 KOs, only 2 defeats. He currently holds the WBO middleweight title not on the line tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
Gerald McClellan, many people are wondering whether this fellow could be just as thunderous a puncher as Julian Jackson at this weight.
Two things you must remember. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Check hands. Good luck to the both of you.
Final instructions from referee Tony Perez. Carl Sullivan, who fought Lindell Holmes for the IBF super middleweight title in Seattle back in 1990, saw that fight, and he was thoroughly outclassed. McClellan, a big puncher, and he has the reputation of when he hits you, you stay hit.
McClellan looked very good. I seen the fight with Mugabi, and he looked very good and very strong and started very fast. So we'll be looking to do the same thing in this fight.
McClellan, who boxes out of the famous Kronk gym, he's wearing their famed yellow and red colors. Just working behind a very stiff-looking jab early on. Oh, look at that right hand. He's already shaken Sullivan up here. And Sullivan is down in the first 30 seconds of the contest. Well, this might not last very long. And I think the referee is stopping it already. The gum shield is out. Or does he want the gum shield rinsed? I believe he stopped the fight. If so, that's got to be one of the quickest stoppages on record. I'll be interested to hear exactly what that was. He must have thrown about 6 punches, and it's all it took.
Well, it was the first decent right hand. He threw good jabs, and there's a bolting right hand right through the defense, and he was in very bad trouble after that one. He started very good, McCullellan. Got that jab landing right from the off. His range was perfect, and that just gave him the right distance to get the right hand on.
That was the punch that did it, Glenn, that right hand, and there was no way back from that. And the referee, I think, took a sensible decision there, because there was only more of the same to follow.
Into the very first round, the winner by TKO, the G-Man from the Motor City, Gerald McClellan.
That's 25 wins, only 2 defeats, points ones against Dennis Morton and Ralph Ward back in 1989 for Gerald McClellan, who really is buzzing just at the moment. Gerald McClellan, well, let's have a chat with him. He's talking now with Joe Goosen.
Now, let me ask you, Gerald, was it supposed to be this easy for you tonight?
Well, like I told you in my room, I was going to take my time and box, work the jab up and down, and I find an opening somewhere, and the opening came. I went for it.
You were hitting him with that jab at surprisingly, with very little effort, and everything you were throwing seemed to land on.
Well, I worked on my jab a lot, on a heavy bag, trying to master it up and down, hook off the jab, and it worked for me.
Did you know when you hit him with that right hand he wasn't getting up?
Well, I was just telling Emmanuel I have a tendency every time I land the right hand on the chin, I turn and walk before the opponent falls because, I'm confident in it, but I came back and jumped on him.
Now, obviously, I know Emmanuel would like to move you up in some competition. Of course, you've had your share of real good competition. What would be the next step that you would like to take in the middleweight division?
Well, I'll lead it up to Emmanuel, whatever Emmanuel put together, I'll take. But it's a lot of middleweights out there. I would never pick no name because, no grudge match, I got on my mind. But one guy I would like to challenge is always calling me out is James Toney. And I think he's watching this fight, and I hope he gives me a chance to fight for the IBF title.
Let me bring Emmanuel Stewart in here, Gerald's trainer. Emmanuel, now, Gerald brought up the name James Toney. Of course, he's booked for the next few months. But have you had any sort of talk with him?
Well, I've already spoke to Bob Arum, and he has expressed a great interest in having Gerald fight the winner of the Mike McCullellan-James Toney match. And we don't know who's going to win that because Mike couldn't possibly win that. But we are very interested in fighting the winner. I think that Gerald is definitely, one of the best middleweights in the world right now.
That's right. You certainly looked at it. Did you get hit with anything tonight?
Well, I got hit with either a right hand or a hook. Caught me across the top of my eye. It stings a little bit, but, wasn't much.
All right, well, listen, it was a beautiful effort. It didn't last too long. I wish we could have seen a little bit more of you, but I'm sure we will next time out. Emmanuel, Gerald, congratulations.
Las Vegas, your commentators are Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge.
Well, Gerald McClellan, definitely one of the hardest hitters in the game. He doesn't let him hang around too much. We saw him in London knocking out John Mugabi. In his last fight he had in Puerto Rico took 30 seconds. So there you are. You mustn't blink when he's in the ring. And Gilbert Baptiste, he actually came in as a substitute here. Tall, very accurate puncher indeed. Trained at the famous Kronk Gym in Detroit. Comes from another part of Illinois, actually, Gerald McClellan. And I've watched him work out, Jim, and he doesn't hang around in training. Everything he throws is dangerous. He had a great fight with Julian Jackson in Las Vegas last May.
No, as well as being one of the best punchers in the game, he's also one of the best fighters. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. Very mobile, very fast, and very, very powerful at long range.
Well, you know, caught him on the side there, and his legs buckled immediately there, Baptiste.
He took a punch just high in the head, and I think that stunned him a little bit, Reg. His legs were very shaky indeed. I think he's probably more stunned than the referee realises here.
Got to dive in here, Richard Steele, famous referee, of course. Well, he's not going to let him off the hook in the opening round here, McClellan. He doesn't like about this. He really is destroying this fella. It's going to be a one-horse race, this one. He's taking some punishment now. I think Steele should start looking at this. His legs are buckling.
See, he's not taking full-blooded shots, so I think Steele's allowing it to continue, but Reggie is badly hurt, badly shaken up.
30-year-old, and he's looking nearer 40 at the moment. Well, it's okay, says the referee. Are you okay? I don't know what kind of answer he expects. Oh, well, he's only just half pushing him down with that note. He stopped it anyway, going on the floor there, Jim. That surprises me.
Yeah, but his legs have gone completely.
Yeah,
his legs have gone completely.
No, what I meant was I thought he could have stopped it before he allowed that. Well, it was only really a shove, the last one. Well, that didn't take any time at all. It's always good to see a class fighter in action, but really not enough opposition. Only twice been the distance in 8-rounders, Gerald McClellan, and beaten on points. Long time ago. Guys, you wouldn't even remember their names. Unbeaten in 4.5 years now. Well, there he is. Got a second who's rather pleased with himself. He hadn't done anything. Here, Jim.
See, every punch is looking to be a finisher. Tremendous natural power. Whips him to the body, whips him to the head. Batiste was just trying to survive a little bit here, but his legs had already gone, and the punches that landed high in the head and just stunned him even more. That was a nice little left hook to the chin just before the second knockdown here. Tremendous power.
Well, there you are now. Jimmy Lennon, the MC again. We saw in London
has
recently.
been stopped at 1 minute 37 seconds in round number 1. The winner by way of technical knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
It's going to take a lot of shifting, this WBC champion. So let's see. He probably hasn't drawn a breath yet, has he? To see what Ferdy Pacheco says to him.
I'm ready for Julian Jackson. Anybody out there want Julian Jackson, James, Tony, Roy Jones, all the big name guys, because my name is big too, so I don't know if we can make a big pay to get together.